Today, I'm Annalouise, and this is the topic of today. I'm going to start with a story. In the last week, I've met two people spontaneously who told me that they've always wanted to learn the saxophone, that it's an instrument that really attracts them. They love the sound of it and they just would love to learn. I had the blessing of taking the impulse to start learning the saxophone last November, and it's bringing me so much joy. And so when I spoke to these people, I could really encourage them just to take that step into that desire that they've been holding for themselves for decades. What I notice in myself and in so many people around me is the habit of deferral around the things that really light us up. And what I notice is that habit becomes so ingrained. We get so used to thinking, oh, one day, that we hardly ever then step in unless the impulse is arising newly. So if it's a new impulse, a new habit, oh, I want to do this, then we often will step into that. But when we've been thinking about something for years, maybe decades, maybe all our life, our neurology is so accustomed to deferring it. Somehow, rarely people that I see step into those deepest desires. In this little talk, I want us to become more attuned to where we're running those patterns of deferral so that we can just go, okay, maybe I can put a circuit breaker on that pattern, because the truth is I've wanted to do this thing for however long. The deferral pattern isn't really changing anything. It's not really working for me. So what could I do today to take a step in the direction of that desire? And I found the smallest step often creates enough momentum to get us going. It might be, for instance, with the people that I spoke to, I told them that I'd bought one of the cheapest saxophones I could buy, and just to see how I got along with it. So maybe for them it would be looking on the internet, having a look at that type of saxophone, seeing whether they could, budget for that, and just then allowing the momentum to take care of itself. Like it's giving permission for the interest, giving permission for the exploration. Another example that I can think of is just over 2 years ago, just at the start of lockdown, I had the impulse to start learning the guitar. And again, it was a new impulse for me, and I feel very blessed that I didn't negate that impulse. I was able to say yes to it, and it was the biggest blessing of my life to be learning guitar through lockdown. And I think the guitar has just brought me so much joy the last few years, and it's opening up things in my life that I could have never ever imagined. It was very interesting. My neighbour at the time, just as I was starting to learn, said to me, oh, I've always wanted to learn the guitar. So he saw me learning. He was saying, oh, that's so wonderful, you're learning. I've always wanted to learn. And I was like, well, this seems to be the perfect moment, right? Why don't you, start learning? For whatever reason, I think because my sense was because he was running that pattern of deferral, he didn't start. And I can feel the blessing of my yes and the restriction around his no in terms of not giving himself permission for that. I know I defer on lots of things. It is a ongoing practice of mine to really feel my aliveness and trust the impulses that are there. I remember with the saxophone, I was like, this seems crazy. I'm already learning other instruments. That 101 reasons why not to do something, right? There's always very good reasons we can think with our mind not to do something. But I could feel the flow, I could feel the aliveness, and things were unfolding around me, including someone that very kindly said they'd teach me, that I was like, I need to trust this. And as soon as I started, I was like, how could I have ever thought not to trust this impulse? So it's interesting, isn't it, that in hindsight, we look back and go, how did I put this off for so long? I think there are all sorts of rationales post the deferral that people use. Like I've heard so often, oh, I'm too old to learn now. Let's just get that one out the way straight away, because we all tend to hear stories of people going to the gym, maybe in their 80s, or learning a piano or learning an instrument on their 80s, or starting a degree, or, I don't think there's any too old. There's never a too old, but that's what our mind one of the stories our mind likes to make up. And there could be all sorts of other stories that we make up around why not, because that's how we justify our ongoing deferral. Can you recognise any feeling of something you might have deferred? Let's start by tuning in just to feeling or opening our awareness to what is something that you've always or for a long time wanted to do but haven't got round to in some way. And there's nothing wrong in this, deferral is just a pattern that we get into. There's nothing wrong and we might have had a very busy time or we haven't had time. But in this moment, what comes to you when I say, what have you always wanted to try or learn or experience? Maybe several things pass through your awareness. Allow anything that's here just to plant in your awareness, just to go, yeah, there's that and there's that. I often hear it with languages. People say to me, oh, I've always wanted to learn X, Y, or Z. Or maybe travel to a certain country, or even start meditation, or lose weight, or start an exercise program, learn to paint. Or even, this is another aspect of deferral, I think, can be when we've done something in the past and for whatever reason we've stopped doing it, and then we start having an impulse to do it again, but we think, oh, well, I'm not going to be as good as I was before, or it's not going to be the same, or there are all sorts of, again, stories around that. And I celebrate, wow, yes, it's not going to be the same. And we may not be as good when we start, but who knows what direction it's going to take us in this time. Who knows, when we, for instance, learned something as a child, the environment in which we were learning is going to be so completely different from the environment we're learning in now, and the resources available now, the infinite level of resources available to us. Yeah. So with the things that came into your awareness, we need to connect into our hearts and acknowledge the longing, acknowledge the desire. Nothing else needed, just going, yeah, this desire is here. And also noticing in consciousness what comes up for you around the desire? You know, is there some sort of fear, maybe some sort of anxiety around pursuing that? Or do you find thoughts crossing through your mind like, oh, I won't be any good, or there's no point doing that now, or I don't have time, or maybe in 3 years' time will be a better moment? Yeah, just again, allowing awareness to see what's getting in our way. And as we allow that information to be present, whether it's sensations on our body or thoughts or whatever else, being with that in real spaciousness. Knowing that at some level that's not truth, but we're just allowing it to be here non-judgmentally. Because it's a lot of years we've been building up these feelings and thoughts. So to be really open to them. And if we come back again to the desire, the longing, and could you speak out loud to me what you would like to do? What is it that you want to learn, discover, explore? And what is it about that lights you up? Again, if you can right now, speak it out loud to me. Speaking out loud has such a different way of resetting our system. What is it that has attracted you to it? So let's just keep acknowledging the desire, keep acknowledging the desire. And if nothing is coming to you right now as well, don't worry, because this video will permeate through your system over the next few days and weeks. And it may be spontaneously, you might feel, actually, yeah, I wanted to do that. And it may be that a whole host of things come to you. Human beings are full of impulses. And so as we get older, we've stored up all these impulses. And the more we can give permission for all of them, the more space we have for the little baby ones that maybe have got really pushed into the background. So what could we do today to give more space to that desire? What comes to you? If you have one. What I notice with myself is that when I really give space to something that's bubbling or something that's been repressed for a long time, everything seems to fall around me in alignment around that. So if I start talking about it or exploring something, suddenly everything seems to emerge. It's like all of that energy that I've been carrying for however many years suddenly is going, yes. And it enables everything to align around it. So maybe it's about having a conversation with a friend. Maybe it's around exploring something on the internet. Maybe it's about taking some time just to meditate, holding with openness that desire and seeing what passes through your consciousness. Maybe some connection will pass through your consciousness that means, actually, I saw a painting course at my local community centre, but I didn't act on it. Maybe I'll go and check it out. Or, I did see that, or speak to someone. Maybe I could reconnect with them. Who knows, right? Who knows? Our consciousness knows, though. Our bigger consciousness knows. We're just here to give space and openness to it, so that all the information can be received effortlessly. So let's celebrate today let's celebrate recognizing this potential pattern of deferral that we can all run, and it's just normal, and that's fine. But we can become aware of it, we can acknowledge it and go, yeah, I recognize I'm doing that. Let's see what I can do to reset my chip in order to give more permission and open ourselves. And I would so love to hear your stories of where this ends up for you. So if in a few months' time you find yourself following something that you did defer, please come back to the video and post what your experience has been and how you're feeling about it. I would love to hear, as I'm sure everyone else would love to hear. And I would also really encourage you to share in the comments below, what are the things, what are those seeds that light you up that today you would like to acknowledge? Because even putting it here below is a way of giving it space, giving it openness, and who knows what might unfold. Please do share this with anyone that comes to your awareness, just trusting your intuition that whoever comes into your awareness maybe could be served by this video today. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can subscribe and get notifications, press a little bell, and then you receive more videos from me on this exploration of being human and how to open ourselves to be more fully alive in this world. And if you want to hear more about what I offer, you can go to www.resonating.love. Wishing you openness, curiosity, awareness to allow whatever wants to flow through you to flow freely and joyfully. So much love and light.